welcome. Bulletproof here, teaching you how to do a carrier landing with a non-carrier based aircraft. We've got the P-51 D5 Mustang. Since we're not a carrier based aircraft, we obviously don't have a tail hook to work with. And as a result of also having generally speaking, a higher stall speed than a carrier based aircraft, we have to touch down faster. All of this results probably going off the end of the aircraft carrier if we're in simulation mode. So to fix this, we're going to do a gear up landing. You can clip your wing if you have the gear down, but it's much better and easier to do with just the gear up. You're going to want to go down to flaps landing so you can get slow enough and make a nice smooth touchdown. Otherwise you'll break apart the aircraft. About 100 knots is about what we want to touch down at. About 100 knots, you will also have to bear in mind that you have to have smooth and small corrections with the stick and throttle. If you have too much of a very fast correction with the throttle, you'll have what's called torque roll, which will flip the aircraft, and you'll either end up into the carrier or into the ocean. Either way, you're going to have a bad time. You want to make this as mechanical as possible. You want to set it up the same way every time. You usually like to have about 100 knots in the final and touchdown. Start that final about a half mile out. Go into the final turn probably about 110 knots. About 500 feet of altitude. Obviously it's not going to be perfect. Real life would maybe be trying to be perfect, but in a computer game, hey, it's not your life at stake. So we start slowing down. We're going to start taking out some of the trim, the aileron and the rudder trim. You're not going to need it when you have a low throttle setting. We'll usually end up about 35% elevator trim by the end of it. Also going to want to pull up the view of the pilot. That way you can see over the nose, you can actually see where you're going, make your corrections based off what you're saying. You also won't get quite as freaked out. So now we're going slower, we're going to start lowering our flaps. Start paying more attention to my altitude now. About 50% throttle. It's about a good throttle setting to ground in this final turn. Be a little higher, about 55%. Keep increasing the elevator trim. This way you're not fighting the aircraft quite as much. Just a little low, coming out on the final right here. If you're off too much about this point, I would just go around and try again. Try to get fancy with fixing something. You end up crashing. Nice and slow. Pull up. Use the backstick pressure. And a nice smooth touchdown. Lost a wing, but the aircraft has to repair anyway. So as you can see, we didn't use the entire deck of the aircraft carrier, so you can accept just a little bit of a longer landing. One nice thing about not having the gear to have to brake. So there you go. You're now repairing, you're now rearming. If you didn't have the ability to do so on an actual ground strip, in about a minute you'll be good to go. Thanks for watching, I hope this was helpful. This is Bulletproof signing off.